Hello, and welcome to this week's lesson. In today's class, I'm going to cover Under the Bridge by the Red Hot Chili Peppers. I'll break the class down into three parts, just gradually getting more advanced technically as we're going. Not to say the music's going to get any better, it's just going to get more technically challenging. But we'll start with the chords. So, capo 2nd fret. And I'm going to be using some familiar grips here, plus a couple bar chords. I'll let's cover the verse and the chorus. So, starting with the D major. Alright, pivot over. Notice that I leave my first finger where it is. Get my second finger over top and my third finger over under, and that gives us our A major chord, chord number 2. Just like that. Don't worry about extra strums. Strum each chord one time. Just, really get into the beat of the piece. Like that. Now on to those bar chords. So a B minor bar grip, which is barring across the 2nd fret. Alright, so bringing our second finger in, and then in the 3rd fret, 2nd string, 4th finger follows, and 3rd finger follows. A nice B minor chord. We're going to follow that with another bar chord directly above it, so my entire hand moves up, but I'm not going to use my second finger, so do release that. That gives us an F sharp minor chord. So we're actually partway into the second measure here. I'm just going to recap what we've done. D to A, B minor, F sharp minor. Conclude with a G. Often I'll play my G with the 3rd finger string 2, 4th finger string 1. I like the sound of that G better. Probably because I played too much AC/DC when I was a kid, I guess. I'm not sure. Notice the second time through, I did not play the F sharp minor. We skip over it and go directly to the G. Obviously, if you're just starting out, don't do all the percussion. Just focus on the chords themselves. Now, I am finger picking over here. You could very easily use a pick, but what I was doing was pretty much my thumb played the root note of the chord, and my fingers would be playing strings 1, 2, and 3, or 2, 3, and 4, depending on the grip. There's really no rhyme or reason behind it. I just hit whatever. Sometimes the melody dictates which strings I hit. Okay, but remember, strumming would sound fine. So if you have a pick, that sounds great. Okay, on to the chorus, and we'll do the chorus in two parts. The first part is bar chords, all bar chords, and we'll be doing in the 7th fret, a minor bar chord, exactly the same grip as the B minor that we used in the verse. I'm just way up here in the 7th fret. Remember, this is the 7th fret relative to the capo. So if you're looking at the dots, you might think, oh, this is the 9th fret, but you get the idea. Back to a D major. Up here I played a very small formation. It kind of looks, it's an odd chord. It's actually giving us an A major sound, but how could we relate this? It's kind of like an F grip with fingers 1 and 2 exchanging strings. So again, relative to the capo, I guess I'm in 7, I'm in like 11 and 9 and 10. Oops. Ending back on our minor chord. It's a 2-measure pattern for the chorus, and it just cycles over and over. Now, if you're not too good with the bar chords in the upper positions here, let's translate those to first position chords. E minor, D major, A major, E minor. they still sound fine. So whatever works best for you. Always take one step at a time. Don't worry about rhythm. You know, if you're not quite at the point where you can just strum through, you know, you're gonna have to get to that point where you can just 1, 2, 3. Like that still sounds fine. One strum per chord, as long as it's on the beat. Okay, let's move on to doing some fingerstyle. And what did I play in the video? It's here somewhere. No matter. What I did was a little bit of alternating the thumb, but very little actually. I just kind of followed the chord changes with playing the roots of the chords. So that was pretty much the thumb's role. So that's following all those chords through. And then most of the melodies are right inside the chords themselves, meaning the D major to the A major, B minor, and so forth. So that was all pretty much me, just 2 bass notes and focusing in on that vocal melody. You know, part of that vocal melody is the D major chord. You know, that's an open string and 3rd fret. Pretty straightforward. 1 and 2 and that bass note comes in. And I finish it off. That's measure number 1. I think I just played those a little differently. You choose your favorite one there. Anyway, moving on to the next measure, we grab our B minor chord. 1 bass note there, right on the first of the beat. Alternate string 3, 2, 3. Alright, a very nice sounding F sharp minor 7 chord here. Getting all 2nd frets. It's kind of like an A grip with my first finger way at the top here. That gives us our vocal melody on string number 1. Moving to a G chord where I have the 3rd fret on string 2. That's our melody, by the way. I always try to put the melody in the top voice, and that way it cuts through the mix. You know. There we go. I almost forgot the last chord. So the second time through that verse, we cycle back through, and we avoid that F sharp minor chord the second time through, and we go directly to the G chord, but we make it a G. I guess technically we call it a G6 chord or something like that. Pretty easy to play. I got my 3rd fret on string 6 and then some open strings on the bottom, like that. Alright, so the chorus could be approached the same way. I know the chorus in the performance video, I've got the percussion going, but for example, we could avoid that and do a totally different version of the chorus, and maybe something similar to what we just did. So let's try that. There's our vocal melody. That was string number 2. So again, this is not in the performance video, and I don't believe it's in any of the tabs that I wrote out for you, but this might sound okay. And I went to a D major grip, like that. 5, 4, 3. I had to figure it out. So the chords are E minor, D, A, and E minor again. And I was just trying to figure out the melody down there. But let's have fun with that. And definitely, you know, usually when I add in, sorry, my firewall just went off here. Usually when I add in different percussion elements, you know, I started the arrangement with something I just played. So the percussion elements are usually the last things I add in. So you should, I would recommend, I think the logical way to play this is you play the straightforward version, you know, just with, you know, some chords and melodies. Get really comfortable with that, and then adding one percussive element to that, and then a second. You know, don't try to go for the whole pie in the sky right off the top. Just through my experience, that's usually the longest road completing and learning something. But with that said, let's go on and try some of these percussive elements. So on to the verse. So what I did for verse number 2 in the performance was I essentially duplicated all the melodies and the chords and the fingerings that I did for the very first verse, but I added in the bass drum kind of thing, because I guess the snare drum is present in the very first verse. So the bass drum follows the bass notes essentially of the chord. So those are the bass notes of the first couple measures. So you should go through like that for a little while. Why not? That's challenging enough. Notice that I added the snare on counts 2 and 4 as well. That's challenging. I think I just messed it up. See, it's easy to mess up. And after you can kind of do just the bass notes and getting the bass drum going, maybe adding in the melodies between all of that would be a little easier. And like always, you're going to want to go really slow. And hopefully you play it better than I am. But you get the idea. So pay close attention to the tab and feel free to ask any questions. Good luck, and thanks, guys.